Our today's webinar is dedicated to the alignment methods in Artec Studio 20. So we're going to start off slowly. We will refresh our knowledge and make sure that everyone is on the same page. So at first we're going to go through the alignment basics, and later on we're going to cover more advanced cases which will be more interesting for the advanced users. So yeah, please stay tuned. So yeah, let's start off with the alignment basics. So why do we need alignment at all, actually? So alignment in 3D scanning is an essential processing step in creating our final model. You will use the alignment in 99% of all of your projects. So there may be some rare exclusions, but in most cases, even if you're scanning your object in a single orientation, such as this beautiful painting that you can see on the screenshot right here, it was actually scanned in just a single position, but as you could see, it was scanned, a lot of scans were used in order to cover all of the geometry, so we still need to use alignment even in this case. So yeah, and of course a lot of objects cannot be scanned from a single orientation, and that is why we need to flip and rotate them and make multiple scans, and in those cases alignment of course is a crucial step in order to get your full 360 3D model and export it later on. Then the alignment can be used to fix severe misalignment issues. So it can be a tool to help, let's say, the global registration in case you have a lot of issues with your scan. So of course it's not possible to do perfect scans all the time. Sometimes you have you may have limited time to work on your project, and you have poor scans, and that's where the alignment may come to rescue. And then finally, of course, one more application of the alignment is to join the mesh-to-CAD for quality inspection, to compare your scan to the reference CAD model. So it may sound a bit weird, but in order to get a good alignment, you need to start thinking about it on the scanning stage, actually. So when analyzing the shape of your object and the way you can scan it, you need to think how many scans do I need to complete this model altogether, to complete this object altogether. So as you can see right here on this slide, we have 3 different scans for this object. The first scan was made in upright position, the second one in upside down position, and the third one was made in a vertical orientation of this transmission. So actually we can make a final fusion just out of scan 1 and scan 2 because they essentially have all of the geometry coverage of the object. We don't need the third scan for the geometry information because it's all there on scan 1 and scan 2. But but the issue may occur during the alignment. So as you see, there is quite little coverage between scan 1 and scan 2. So that is why we're making the third scan for the alignment, because it has all of those 2 overlapping sides, and that is why this way we're going to improve the quality of our alignment and the quality of our registration later on. So I strongly recommend using this technique, especially if you're making a scan where you would like to achieve the highest accuracy possible. So let's take a look at the short video right here. Here is a demonstration of the alignment. Here I'm selecting the third scan, which was made in the vertical orientation as a reference one, as a registered one. And as you could see, there are a lot of holes in it. I don't particularly care about them because I have all of the geometry information on my other 2 scans. So, and as you could see right here, this is how the alignment is being performed in this case. And actually, yeah, it's a good chance to talk about the registration and alignment. So as you could see right here, there is always a small like pre-registration included in the alignment step, unless you're using the align markers option. So as you could see right here, even after I set all of those markers and click the align button, it takes some time for the Artec Studio to make a rough registration of those objects together. So it takes some time, but it improves the quality of alignment a lot. So yeah, we're gonna talk about it a little bit later on in details, but for now, just remember that during the usual alignment cases, Artec Studio also makes some fixes to the way you align your objects. But still, it is necessary to perform the global registration later on, regardless of that. So now let's take a look at a different case. What if you're scanning symmetrical objects? Actually, for an inexperienced user, it might be quite an obstacle to scan and align such objects together, because at first glance, yeah, it might be, if you're scanning if you're scanning such objects, especially, let's say if you have an Artec EVA light that does not scan texture, then it might be really tricky to align your different sides altogether. So how to align symmetrical objects? Actually, the easy way to do that is to add features, either texture features or the geometry ones. So yeah, in case you have such an option, it's better to add the texture features, and then it would be much easier to align such objects. So yeah, if you take a look right here on this slide, you will see that once I import this data once I have this data inside Artec Studio, it will be very easy for me to match those two different scans together, because I have added those additional texture features. So it's really easy to do, and yeah, you can always choose between texture and geometrical features depending on your application. And then there is one more small, really great tip right here. As you could see, yeah, so we have recently added this tint objects with status color option, which is enabled by default. But in case you are performing the alignment by texture, sometimes it can obstruct your view. It may make your texture features less readable, and in these cases you may disable it and you will see like a better contrast of your model. So yeah, essentially what this option does when it is enabled, it adds a texture, like an overlay to your object to mark the ones which are registered and unregistered. So yeah, you can always disable it to navigate through your scene more easily. And then when you're scanning symmetrical objects, or you're scanning objects that have little to none geometrical features, you can always switch between the texture and scan color scene settings right here, as you can see on the GIF on the right. So yeah, you can choose either the scan color in case you have like a distinctive geometry and it's easy to align your scans just relying on the solely on the geometry. But in case your object has quite a symmetrical shape, or it has some repetitive geometry, in such cases, yeah, you can add texture features, as we have discussed previously. You can switch to the texture mode, and this way it will be easy for you to match them. So yeah, before we go into more advanced stuff related actually to the alignment itself, you need to select your objects for the alignment in the workspace before opening the alignment tab. This is, so it's important to choose them before, so that the alignment will work. And once you have selected all of your objects which you would like to align, you can open the Align tab. And here let's talk about, let's refresh the knowledge about the registered and unregistered objects. We have two types of objects inside the Alignment tab right here. The registered objects and the unregistered ones. The registered ones are highlighted with the blue color, while the unregistered ones are highlighted in gray. So essentially what that means is that all of the gray objects are going to be aligned with the blue ones. So the blue object is a reference one, it will remain in place, but the object highlighted in gray will be joined with the one highlighted in blue. So when you have just two objects, it does not particularly matter, but it becomes important if you have multiple objects in your scene. Let's take a look at this slide, for example. So here, as you see, we already have three objects, and in order to align them, to join them properly in the global coordinate system, we need to we need to mark the scans which we would like to remain in place as registered ones, so that we'll have a single global coordinate system for all of them. And just a quick tip, when you are aligning your objects here and you're selecting and you are thinking which object should you mark as registered first, ideally you should select the object which has the most geometry coverage and which will help you to join the other objects to it. So the more geometry, the more overlapping geometry your object has, the better it is to mark it as a registered one, and then it will be really easy for you to align the rest of them to your reference. All right, so now let's move to the basic alignment modes. We have three different basic alignment modes. By basic, I don't mean that they're for beginners. I actually mean that, so these are the most commonly used alignment methods, and in most cases, those options will cover all of your needs. So that is why we're going to talk about them first. So of course, first of all, we have the automatic mode. You can enable it by enabling this toggle right here, which says points. If you enable it, then the auto alignment will be enabled as well. You can disable this toggle, and then the manual alignment method will be used. And finally, for the Artec point, for example, we have the targets alignment mode right here. So now we're going to cover them in depth. Let's take a look at the most basic one, the automatic alignment mode. Let's talk about its use cases. So first of all, this mode is really suitable for new users who are not yet familiar with the Artec Studio user interface, who are just starting out. It can be really great to make your first projects, because here you just align your scans with a single click of a button. So essentially all you need to do is to enable the auto alignment right here, click align, and then the software will do all the rest for you. The use cases for this mode are when you're aligning light scans between each other. I would not recommend using this mode on heavy scans where you have a lot of frames, where you have a lot of data, because it might be quite time consuming for the software to align those scans automatically without the help of the user. So it will take a significant time if you have a lot of frames. So yeah, it's more suitable for light, small to medium scans. Your light scans need to have unique and distinctive geometry. So in case you're trying to align completely symmetrical objects with this mode, it won't work. Finally, there should be large overlapping zones between your objects. So of course, there should be large overlapping zones ideally in every scenario, but here it's very, very important in this mode. It's of the highest importance because here the software needs to have enough overlapping areas to do the comparison between them and to join them properly. Okay, so as for the tips, here it can be really useful to do a rough manual pre-alignment before running the auto alignment. So in case your scans are too far away from each other, so yeah, if they are too far away in the scene, then the alignment might not work properly, so it might not find common areas in those two different scans. And so the closer you move your scans together, the better rotation. So ideally, yeah, you should always try to rotate it, as you could see here on the GIF. So you should roughly rotate it to the state of the registered object for the auto alignment to run faster. But of course, this should be this should not always be used, and usually it works fine if you have all of other checkboxes checked. So yeah, I'm talking about those conditions that we discussed previously. Okay, so now let's move on to the manual alignment mode. It's the most common mode. Usually it is the one that is preferred over the different ones if possible. So this mode is suitable when you make scans and you would like to achieve the best alignment results, the best accuracy later on. So of course, small misalignments can be also fixed later on with the global registration, but ideally, if you're aiming for the highest accuracy, if you're doing quality inspection or reverse engineering with your object, you would want to use the manual alignment. So yeah, let's talk about the use cases of this mode. You should definitely use this one in case you are going for the in case you are aligning objects with scans or meshes with repetitive geometry, as you could see right here on the example on this slide. So here the automatic alignment might fail because our object is symmetrical. So that is why we need to help the software by setting those reference marker pairs. And then let's talk about how this mode works actually. So you need to set at least 3 pairs of markers between your two objects. So as you could see right here, I'm setting the markers onto the common points of those two meshes, and this helps the software to pre-align one scan to a different one, and later on the software improves the results even further. Because yeah, we have greatly helped the software with this reference, so it's much easier for the Artec Studio to perform the final alignment. And a quick tip for you. So as you could see here on the slide, before aligning those two objects together, I rotate and translate the unregistered object in 3D space in order to set the markers more easily. So often thing that I see during the trainings that a lot of users are trying to rotate their viewport, their camera, and try to set markers this way. So yeah, and this may be really time consuming, and it might be more difficult for you to find the common points between those scans. So that is why I would always recommend to rotate your scans so that it would be easier for you to match them together. So yeah, the second advice is to match. So yeah, the second advice is to spread the markers throughout the model as much as possible to lock all axes, let's say. So if you set, let's say, all of those markers into a single area, then the alignment might also fail. So ideally you want to spread those markers as much as possible so that the objects, one object can be aligned to a different one in only one way. So yeah, one more tip is that you don't need to set markers very precisely. In this mode, you can set them approximately. So all you need to do is to match them, to make them matching more or less. No need to be extra precise. Now let's talk about the third basic alignment mode, which is called the targets mode. Here, this mode is by default available on the Artec point. So when you're making your scans and your scans contain enough targets for the alignment, it is the best mode in order to achieve the highest accuracy for the Artec point. So this is the mode that we do recommend. So in case you apply markers, in case you're applying targets to the object itself, then it is the mode that you should be using for the alignment. As you could see right here, this mode it works really straightforward with just a single click of a button. So all you have to do is enable the targets alignment right here in the alignment tab and click align. So if there is enough overlap between your target clouds, then the alignment will run very, very quickly, because here the software relies first of all on the target cloud of your object, which allows for an extra precise and fast alignment. And of course, so the scans should have sufficient overlapping targets. It's the same as for the manual approach when you don't have any targets at all. So here you should have, let's say, at least four targets overlap between your two objects to get an alignment result. And of course, the more overlapping targets between the scans, the better the alignment results. So ideally, you would want to have more targets in case you're aiming for the highest accuracy of your final model. So one more tip here is that you should always make sure that the base targets are erased in case you erased your base manually. So when you're scanning small to medium objects, it is a common application when you use a turntable in order to rotate your objects, in order to turn your object. And here you may apply the targets not only to the object itself, but to the base as well, for more reliable tracking and for the best scanning experience. And then, so in case you haven't erased those targets automatically, then you would need to do it manually in order to avoid any sort of the confusion for the algorithm. Because yeah, if you don't erase them, then you are going to have multiple different scans that have those same points on the base, and then the alignment might not work properly. Of course, you will see that, but it's just a tip. When something goes wrong, what can I do to troubleshoot it? So that's one of the steps that you should take. You should check if you have deleted your base targets or not. All right, so now let's move on to the advanced alignment modes right here. Let's see a short overview of them. So we have 4 different advanced modes and techniques. The first one is called align markers. Then we have the datum alignment, the complex alignment, and the non-rigid alignment. So each of them have their own use cases. I would say that those methods are more niche than the ones that we have discussed before. So they may be suitable for some specific situations. So let's discuss them separately in details. Let's take a look at the align markers, alignment mode first. It is very similar to the manual alignment mode at a first glance, but there is one huge difference between them. So in case of, as well as in case with the manual alignment, here you need to set the pairs of markers on your scans, as you could see on the GIF on the right. But in this case, this mode is a bit different. So in the regular manual alignment mode, the software does a pre-alignment of one scan to a different one, and then it fixes slight misalignments on its own. Remember what I told you about the rough registration that the software does. Here, at first, the align markers mode works the same, but it skips the pre-registration step entirely. So here, the software relies only on the pairs of points that you have set manually. It won't fix any sort of misalignments should they occur. So in this case, you should be extra precise about setting those marker pairs. So let's talk about why this mode when this mode can actually be useful. Sometimes when you're aligning thin objects, if you have some tricky cases where you're aligning, let's say flat objects without the geometry at all, or let's say thin objects or incomplete scans where you don't have enough information for the rough pre-registration of the software. And in these cases, you may see that the manual alignment might fail. So in this case, as you could see, we have this PCB, which is pretty thin. So the manual alignment doesn't work the best here. And it's easier for me to use the align markers mode to get this sort of a rough alignment, which I'm going to fix later on with different tools. That's the first use case of this mode. And the second one is aligning very large scans. So let's say you have a really huge dataset scan with the Artec array, and you don't particularly care about the accuracy, so probably you're using this just for the presentation purposes and you need to align them together. And let's say this didn't work. So in this case, this mode can be useful to make a rough alignment which will be extra fast. So as you could see, since the software relies entirely on the points that we set, the alignment is really, really quick. So here are some tips for this mode. First of all, as I've said earlier, we need to set the markers really accurately right here. And then you could see that at the beginning I have quite a huge misalignment of those two scans after the this align markers initial alignment, and it's quite easy to fix it with proper global registration settings later on. So here what I basically do is I guide the software. I pre-align those scans together, and I let the software know that the frames should be somewhere over there. So that's where the global registration should occur. And since this align markers mode may be quite accurate in case you're setting your points really accurately, and in case your object has enough distinctive features for you to set the markers on, as you could see right here on this PCB, then yeah, it would be easy to fix those misalignments with the use of global registration, as you could see right here. Now let's talk about the datum alignment mode. So this mode is used to align your mesh to CAD. Yeah, so first of all, before running the datum alignment, we need to run the initial best fit manual alignment. So as you could see on the GIF on the right, first of all, I'm marking the CAD part as registered, and then I set the pairs of markers accordingly, and I run the manual alignment mode first. So this is required for the datum alignment to work properly. We need to have our two, so both objects should be registered for the alignment mode to work properly, and it's very important to run the manual alignment first. So yeah, the second thing to mention right here is usually in 99% of the cases you would want the CAD parts to be registered, and the and your mesh, your scan, to be unregistered. So we do that because the CAD usually comes pre-aligned properly in the global coordinate system, as you could see right here. When I use the navigation cube to switch between the views, it is properly aligned in the 3D space to begin with. So that is why we would want to save those position of the CAD and move only our mesh, especially if we are going to export our mesh later on in the same coordinate system for some sort of analysis in third-party software. So once you have created your best fit alignment and you're satisfied with the results, switch to the datum alignment type at the top of the alignment tab, and start setting the datums as specified on your technical drawing. So yeah, usually you're making datum alignment for the quality inspection, and you already know what your datums should be. But I believe that it still should be important to mention that the order of the datums is really important. So the datum A has a higher priority in comparison with the datum B, and the datum B has a higher priority in comparison with the datum C. So what it means actually is once you have set your datum A and you're setting your datum B, if the datum B alignment contradicts and worsens the alignment of datum A, then you will see a message that the alignment has failed. So that's actually intended because, yeah, once again, the order is really important. So the datum B and C cannot contradict the datum A alignment. So that is why the datum A is the main one, the primary, B is secondary, and C is tertiary. So yeah, it's important to mention during the troubleshooting. Once you have created your alignment and you're satisfied with the results, you can create a distance map of from your CAD to mesh. Yeah, so here at the top you see the reference model, which is being selected. Then yeah, you have the mesh to align. And here you can enable this toggle to enable the distance map user interface. And here you can click calculate. And then the distance map will be calculated accordingly using the search distance that you have specified right here. And a really convenient thing about the distance map in this menu is that you can save it to the measurements tab with this save button, which is located on the right next to the calculate button. So yeah, it's important to mention that also all of your datum information is going to be saved to the measurements as well. So all of those labels, which you can see right here, which show the deviation for each of the datums, this information is going to be saved in the measurements, and you will be able to access it later on inside the measurements. So you will always know that here you have run the datum alignment specifically, and you have set those specific faces of the CAD accordingly. So yeah, actually I forgot to mention that here in this mode you select your patches of the CAD as datums, and once you hover your mouse over them, you will see the patches being highlighted accordingly, so it will be easier for you to understand which part of the object the datum is referring to. Also, just a kind reminder that you can also align one mesh to a different one. It's not necessary to align the align does not only work on scans and mesh-to-CAD, it also works between meshes. So you can align mesh to mesh. So you don't always have the readily available CAD model for the quality inspection, and sometimes you have your reference mesh, your reference like ideal mesh, which you are going to use instead of the CAD. And yeah, it's totally fine. So you can also run the best fit manual alignment and different modes in this case as well. So now let's talk about the next alignment method, which is called the non-rigid align. Let me tell you how it works first. It works on fusions. As you could see on the slide right here, we have those two fusions of a hand, and its shape has changed throughout the scanning, and of course we cannot fuse it into a single model. So yeah, that is why we have two different fusions right here. We mark so first of all, we navigate to the non-rigid align in the alignment tab first. We select our reference mesh as a registered one. So as you could see right here, it's the purple mesh. Sorry, it's the pink mesh right here. We are highlighting it as a registered, and then the different mesh, the purple one, is highlighted as unregistered. And once we apply the non-rigid align, as you can see right here, the unregistered mesh is getting aligned to the registered one via using the deformation. So its shape is being distorted to fit the shape of the registered mesh. And the shape of the registered mesh actually does not happen. It serves as a reference to sort of join, merge, and deform the other mesh to it. So yeah, here is another slide with some more examples right here. So let's talk about the use cases first. Yeah, of course, sometimes when you're scanning your object, it may not be possible to make a perfect scan of your subject, especially if it's moving throughout a scan. It can be quite tricky. Of course, we would always recommend to remake a scan if you have some issue with movement, a severe misalignment issue, because yeah, this way you would obviously have to make less processing and you will achieve a higher accuracy. But sometimes due to a limited time frame, and yeah, so it may be required to do the project quite fast, and it may not be possible to rescan your subject. In those cases, the non-rigid alignment may come to rescue, but just as a disclaimer, I would like to mention that you should use it only as a last resort. Yeah, because it decreases your accuracy, so it's definitely not suitable for quality inspection, but for the presentation purposes, it might be really useful. So yeah, it also works only on fusions. And one more tip. So let's say you have aligned one mesh to a different one, and you get a rough non-rigid align result, as you could see on the image on the left. So yeah, here you may see that the overlap, the intersection between those meshes is quite poor, and yeah, so they are greatly distorted one from another. In order to fix that, you can actually erase some parts of the geometry. The results are poor, so the parts of the geometry that greatly differ one between the other, and this way it will be easier for the software to deform one mesh to fit the shape of a different one. Yeah, and one more final advice for this mode. So once you go to texturing, once you navigate to texturing, there it is important to choose the texture source from the scan which you picked as registered for the non-rigid align, because yeah, otherwise you can see some texture artifacts appearing on your model, and of course no one wants that. Yeah, and also one more quick technique. So how you could actually get to two different meshes with slightly distorted shapes. So yeah, let's discuss it on the example of this hand scan. So actually, at first you are doing your human scan, and let's say the hand has moved throughout the scan while you were scanning and moving around your subject with the scanner. So in this case, what you might do is you might always find the frame where the misalignment first occurred, and you could divide your scan into two different ones and make two different fusions, and later on you can register them using the non-rigid registration. So that is the way how you can find a way around of such tricky cases. Of course, it's not the most elegant solution, but it might be a real savior when you have no other choices. So now let's discuss the complex alignment mode. This is the last mode that we have right here. Actually, it's quite niche, and in most cases you will be able to fix such issues with the use of global registration. But in some niche cases, the complex alignment might work better when the global registration fails. So let's take a look at this scan right here. As you may see, there is a significant misalignment between some of the frames right here, and basically we are going to fix it. So the complex alignment works within a single scan. Think of it as in alignment mode between frames and not the scans. So yeah, each of the frames on your Eva or Spider or Leo is represented in a mesh view. It's represented in a triangulated view. Yeah, this way, yeah, by knowing that, it will be easy for you to align those frames between each other, thinking of them as if they were meshes, as if they were separate scans. So as you could see right here, the process of the alignment is shown on this slide. First of all, in order to perform the complex alignment, you need to set a point on your main body first. It's very important that you set the first point on your main body, and then the second point you set on the frame which has been disconnected from your main body. This way you tell the software that the single frame which is misaligned needs to be joined to the main body. Yeah, and I would also like to mention that you shouldn't use this mode by default. You shouldn't use this mode always if you see such misalignments. It's better to run the registration first, and then if you see that the registration gives you poor results, in case, let's say, you have repetitive geometry or you don't have enough geometry or texture features for the global registration, then you can go back to the alignment, choose the complex align, and align those and join those frames between each other. And also one more important tip for this mode is that it requires an accurate point placement. So when you're placing those markers, it's essential to be extra precise about them, as we discussed during the for the align markers mode, because yeah, here the software relies on the markers that you set the most, and yeah, it's important to be really precise about it. And as you could see here on the fourth image on this slide, the misalignment was easily fixed using this method. Now let's talk about some of the additional options which we have in the alignment. They can be pretty useful depending on your use case. So first, let's talk about a really interesting application for the allow scaling mode. So yeah, we have a checkbox at the top of the alignment, which is called allow scaling, as the name suggests. Yeah, so this mode allows Artec Studio to scale your unregistered mesh or your unregistered mesh to match the registered one. And as a result of such alignment, you are going to see the scale factor displayed in the log of Artec Studio. So if you take a look at the GIF, you will see it over there at the bottom of the screen. And there are quite a few interesting, very fascinating applications of this mode, which we know about. So first of all, it can be used to analyze the material shrinkage over time. So as you can see right here, this statue has been scanned in April of 2021. And then it was the very same same very statue was scanned in the May of 2023, and then they were aligned together using this allow scaling checkbox. And by using this mode, the operator was actually able to find out the material shrinkage over time of the model based on the scale factor that they see displayed in the log. So yeah, it's also quite so it's also quite instructive that you see The markers are being set really precisely right here. It's also really important in this mode because they will serve as let's say anchors for your scaling. And in order to get the best results, in order to see like the most accurate scale factor, ideally you would want to align them really precisely. Now let's take a look at this slide. So one more application of this option is to align Artec Studio photogrammetry model with the Fusion for scale. So here is an example of a tower which has been scanned with the Artec Ray, with a combination of Artec Ray and the drone data. We won't go deep into this exact process today. If you are really interested in this particular project, we have a nice article on our support page describing the whole process in details. So if you're interested, just drop your question into the chat, and yeah, we will provide this link later on. Yeah, essentially here let me describe the process in general, how this works. First of all, we scan our scene with the Artec Ray, with the Artec Ray 2, or let's say with Leo if we're scanning a smaller area, and then we use drone to make a scene photogrammetry. And we don't have any scale references for our global photogrammetry scene, so yeah, its scale will be all over the place. It won't be correct because we don't have any scale references. And here is when the Artec Ray 2 data comes to rescue. So here what we can use, what we can do is we can use the allow scaling mode, set the common marker pairs between your objects, and your photogrammetry model will be scaled down to your accurate Ray 2 data, and this way you will get a really nice accuracy, accuracy in scale of your photogrammetry model. So that is one more application of this setting. And of course you can also use it on smaller data sets. So in a case, let's say you have a Leo and you use Leo in combination with photogrammetry to scan some medium objects, and let's say there are some tricky surfaces, tricky partially transparent surfaces that the Leo struggles with. You can add them in with the use of photogrammetry and scale it down to the Artec Leo to get this nice combination without using the spray. So let's say this is one of the applications of this mode. Now there is a second setting in the alignment, which is called Enable Texture Alignment. So this one is pretty straightforward. By default, it's disabled. So all of the alignment, all of the rough registration and alignment of your scans is being performed solely by the geometry. So we do it in order to optimize our process, in order to make the alignment faster. The geometry will work faster. And in most cases it's enough, because regardless of the alignment, you are going to run the global registration later on. But sometimes there are very rare occasions when you're scanning, let's say, a painting or a mosaic, as you could see right here on the image, where there is little to none reference geometry. So if you look at the geometry, you might have just a square, let's say. And of course, even if you set the points manually, the alignments the alignment might not be that precise because there are no geometry features. And here is where the texture alignments comes to rescue. We can enable it. Yeah, so the Artec Studio would analyze the texture as well during the alignment, and the results will be much better even during the alignment stage. And of course, you would still need to run the global registration. It's still necessary, but you might get a lower error as a result of this type of alignment in comparison with the geometry alignment only, or in comparison with the align markers alignment mode only. So yeah, and the one last thing about this mode is that it's quite resource demanding. So if you're joining large data sets, then it's better to divide them into more pieces with this mode, because yeah, it may be quite heavy on your computer resources. All right, and one last setting that we have in the alignment tab is called Apply to All Objects in Parent Groups. So yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. The idea is that when you align objects between each other, so all of the objects inside of the group that are located inside of the group with the unregistered scan that you are aligning are going to be aligned together with it. So yeah, it might sound a little bit complicated, but if you take a look at this GIF on the right, it will be easy to follow through. So yeah, at first, as you see, we have those 3 scans in the Leo Scans 2 folder. I'm selecting only one scan in this folder, as you can see right here, and in the alignment tab, I enable the Apply to All Objects in Parent Groups option and align only one unregistered scan to the registered one. And yeah, so let's see what happens. Once I align the only one unregistered object to the registered one, as you could see, all of the objects which were hidden, which didn't participate in the alignment, so you didn't select them, you didn't mark them for the alignment, they are still getting aligned thanks to this setting. So it may be really useful in case you're scanning large data. Let's say with Artec Leo, you're scanning some large scene, and you lose tracking throughout your scanning, so it happens, and then you have a lot of different small scans within a single group. But they are already roughly pre-aligned to the first one in this group. So in this case, you can simply align just one scan of this group, which has the largest geometry coverage for the alignment. Highlight this option, enable this option, and align all of them at the same time. This way you will save a few extra clicks, and you will save the resources of your computer. So the alignment will run faster in this case because you're only selecting a single scan for the alignment. So yeah, there may be much more use cases to this option, but this is the most common one. So probably you will find a more creative way to use it during your 3D scanning, 3D processing. All right, so this is actually it. Thank you for watching this webinar.